Let us now give the floor to President Jose Manuel Barroso, Nobel Prize 2012, President of the European Commission.
Muchas gracias. Buenos días a todos. Es un placer estar aquí en Mérida, Yucatán, in Mexico.
It is indeed a pleasure to be here today in Mérida, Yucatán.
There are many ways of dealing with this topic of rule of law, namely international law, but since I'm here because the European Union received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2012, and I was recipient of that prize in that great moment in Oslo, let me start with mention the issue from a European Union perspective. Rule of law is one of the fundamental values that is enshrined in Article 2nd of the Treaty of the European Union, currently the Treaty of Lisbon, because it was signed in Lisbon. The rule of law is a prerequisite for the protection of all the other fundamental values of the European Union, including the fundamental rights and democracy. And this is a very interesting article. I would like to read it very briefly in Spanish, because I assume most of you speak Spanish. Artículo 2.
Article 2. The Union is founded on the values of respect of human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, the rule of law, and the respect of human rights, including the rights of people that belong to minorities. These values are shared amongst and common to the member states in a society characterized by pluralism, non-discrimination, tolerance, justice, and equality amongst men and women.
The question is, the European Union puts as a condition to become a member of the European Union the respect of these values. And this is a difficult issue, because it's the issue of sovereignty. How are our countries going to accept that they have to comply with those rules? And in fact, the European Union considers that the rule of law is essential for the functioning of the European Union, and that at the core of the rule of law is the effective judicial protection by the European Court of Justice in the European level, but also by our national justice systems. And so we need independence, quality, and efficiency of our national justice systems. And the European Commission, that is more or less the executive body of the European Union, has a very important range of tools to monitor, to assess, and to respond to rule of law concerns in our member states. Namely, it was in March 2014 that my Commission launched a new framework for addressing the systemic threats to the rule of law in any of the member states. And until now, this procedure was launched, Article 7, launched in 2 cases, in 2017 and 2018, against 2 of our member states. So it means that the European Union, while it tries to promote the rule of law and the respect of human rights in all the world, in our context with other countries, we should also try to make sure that we ourselves in the European Union respect these very principles. An important point that we probably will have the time to discuss is how can we deal with these issues of rule of law in peace processes? And in my personal experience as a politician, I was involved in some processes, namely the peace process of Angola, and also the independence of Timor-Leste, East Timor. And it's interesting because in those cases, we decided not to go against the regime, but to change the regime according to rule of law. For instance, in Angola, the president at that time was making as a condition for us to accept, for him to accept negotiations with the rebel movement, UNITA. They were making that they should be done according to that constitution. And then there was a transition to a multi-party system according to the same constitution. But it was changed according to the rule of law. Some time ago, I was speaking with President de Klerk. I remember when I met President de Klerk, still before he was president of South Africa, as a lawyer, he told me, we are going to change this situation, but according to the principles of the rule of law. The case of East Timor was very interesting because it was a case of international law, where it was difficult for the occupying country, it was Indonesia, to accept the right of the people of East Timor. And I was at that time foreign minister. I started discussion under the auspices of the Secretary General of the United Nations. At that time it was Boutros Ghali, discussing the issue with the foreign minister of Indonesia for making him accept the principle of self-determination. It's a fundamental principle of the rule of law globally. So at the end, it comes to an issue not only of legality, but of legitimacy. So our topic, we say, el poder de la ley versus la ley del poder.
The power of law versus the law of power.
La ley del poder.
There should not be any contradiction. It should be one and the same in the respect of the power of law.
That is the most important condition to avoid violence and to avoid war. So legitimacy and the rule of law are one of the most important conditions for the effective respect for peace. I thank you for your attention.